Hello, my name is Emily Hendrickson, and this is my discussion for week 2. This is about the importance of terms and conditions. So, first, what is the issue? Let's start with a brief synopsis of the article that we are discussing. To begin with, the issue concerns Amazon's audio streaming service called Audible. Two customers in California filed suit against the service, claiming that Audible unlawfully shared its Californian customers' browsing, purchasing, and listening data via tracking pixels with Meta, which is a social media company for targeted advertising. The customers claimed this action violated California's Invasion of Privacy Act, and thus the suit should be taken up in accordance to California law. However, upon looking further into the matter, the Seattle judge overseeing the suit focused in on the contractual agreements listed in the terms and conditions when agreeing to use the service. The terms and conditions of Audible place jurisdiction with Washington law, and upon using the service, customers agree to this stipulation. Thus, the judge recognized the legal authority of the contract and dismissed the suit. So, was the judge correct in dismissing the case? Which jurisdiction's law should govern this issue? So this is the second slide, and this is what is the law. The plaintiff's argument stems from the belief that the law of the state in which they live in should apply to the digital service. Conversely, the defendant claims that the law of the state in which the service's main headquarters is located should be applied, since this stipulation is outlined in the terms and conditions supplied before purchasing the service. So let's take a look at the difference in law between the two states. According to the article, California law generally forbids interception of communications without consent from all parties, meaning that under California law, the plaintiffs could have a valid suit by claiming the Amazon service sold their digital information without their consent. Washington law, however, is more specific and explicitly prohibits the interceptions of communications between two or more individuals. The difference here is that Washington law does not explicitly focus on communications between individuals and businesses, leaving a legal gray area. Here are some quick relevant legal terms from this article. First, we have the choice of law clause, which is a contractual clause that specifies which jurisdiction's laws will be used to interpret the contract and resolve any disputes. In the article's case, the choice of law clause listed by Audible outlined Washington law as the jurisdiction of choice. Next comes the term of consent. Consent means that a person voluntarily and willfully agrees in response to another person's proposition. However, there are two types of consent. Express consent is consent given directly, either through verbal or written means. Implied consent is the consent that can be inferred by actions, signs or facts, or even by inaction or silence. Regarding this article, the terms and conditions you agree to before using an online service such as Audible serve as your express consent to agree and adhere to the contract's guidelines. Lastly, we have an amended complaint, which is a written revision of an original complaint filed by a plaintiff or petitioner. Now we have our analyses and conclusion. Although the judge denied the plaintiff's claims, the article ends with Judge Evanson asserting that the plaintiff's complaint could be reworked and amended under Washington law. However, it is important to note that Washington law specifies and focuses on communications between individuals, again, not individuals and businesses. This article also highlights a relevant issue regarding digital privacy and has a broader impact than we realize considering the legal disparities surrounding electronic devices and the right to digital privacy. This just shows how important it is to read those seemingly useless terms and conditions before entering a contractual agreement. And then these are my references. Thank you very much.